It's fair to say the last 4.5 months haven't really been one that North Melbourne fans will remember fondly. However, the real pressure on North Melbourne actually begins now and continues until round 1 2024 and beyond. What does that mean? Well, Alistair Clarkson is back in the fold now. North have got a really good draft hand, but they are going to get even more draft help. They are going to get even potentially more assets, and they cannot stuff it up because, frankly, fans have had a gutful of handouts to clubs, and if North get it wrong from here, maybe they're unhelpable. Let's talk about all of it. First of all, I want to say a massive thank you to everyone who has jumped on and watched the last video, the Adelaide video. I loved making it, loved uploading it, and I've loved the feedback, both agreeing and disagreeing with the points made in that video, which is awesome. Genuine and fun footy conversation is literally why I have this channel. So massive thank you to everyone who also subscribed from that video. Make sure you go and do that now. I want to do 1,500 before grand final day. We should get there, but I can't get there without your help, so I'd really appreciate it if you click that subscribe button, and if you click that little bell next to it, you will get notified, whether you're on YouTube or not, that Big Dazzling has uploaded another video. So why don't you go and do that, even though you've already subscribed. Bang! Never miss a moment at Daz Talks Footy. And I want to thank the sponsor of this video, Capital Edge Australia, and if you're not aware, I'll talk about them at the end of the video, or if you want to read on while I'm talking, you can go to the description box below and you can read about all how you can get in touch with one of Victoria's leading investment property education specialists. But now, let's specialise in North. They have currently got pick 2 and pick 15 in this upcoming draft. I know it doesn't seem like it right now because of a lot of permutations that might happen in the off-season, but that's what they have. Simply because they're the second worst team in the competition, ergo pick 2, and they have Port Adelaide's first round pick this year that was traded to them in the Jason Horne-Francis trade. Port Adelaide are the 4th best team. They would have pick 15. It's now North Melbourne's. Simple, easy. And technically that's where it should end. However, Ben Mackay is one of the free agents at the moment that seems most likely to depart his club. And according to some estimations that I've seen online and a little bit of my own research, so don't technically quote me on this, but if another club is willing to pay Ben Mackay $788k a year, then North will be entitled to what is called Band 1 compensation. And simply put, what that means is you get the pick after your first round pick. North have pick 2, they would get pick 3. And Hawthorn and all the other teams after that would just slide down a pick. Simples. Think about it, when Hawthorn got Band 1 compensation when Lance Franklin went up to Sydney, but because Hawthorn had won the flag in an 18-team competition, their first round pick, even though they traded it away, would have been pick 18. That Band 1 compensation then becomes pick 19. For the Demons, when James Frawley did come to Hawthorn, Hawthorn paid him enough that Melbourne got Band 1 compensation. They already had pick 2 in that draft. They took Christian Petrarca with pick 2. They also got pick 3, because that's how it works. Next pick after, they took Angus Brayshaw. Fair to say, tick across the board for the Ds in that scenario. So 2, 3, and 15. Okay. That makes sense in terms of explaining it. I'm not a massive fan of a club getting pick 3 because one of their only good players decides that the organisation that he's been with for such a long period of time have led to him winning less than 10 games in 7 years. Therefore, North get help. And that's not a North Melbourne attack. I thought Melbourne getting pick 3 for James Frawley was just wrong at the time. I think Hawthorn even getting pick 19 for Bud at the time. I think you either need to get the exact same compensation dependent on wage, or you get none. And I'm not entirely sure we need a system where you get none. But if Ben Mackay, James Frawley, and Lance Franklin all depart their clubs, and the actual club that gets punished the most is the club with the better player, that doesn't make sense. Now, you might be sitting here thinking, but Daz, you're a Hawthorn supporter, of course you're going to say that, and it's convenient that you're talking about Ben Mackay now, because Hawthorn would go from pick 3 to pick 4, and now you want to bring it up. Now, I understand where you're coming from there, and there's nothing I can really do to change your mind. It's not why I'm doing this video, and that's not the reason. We're still going to end up with either Zane Dersma or Nick Watson, I think, or if North really want to go kooky, we could end up with Daniel Curtin, which would just be really nice. But I understand that that's going to be some feedback on this video. But it again doesn't stop there. North Melbourne have applied to the AFL to allow Riley Sanders to be a part of their NGA, Next Generation Academy, again for those that don't know, and they would be able to pre-list him. So what that means is Riley Sanders would be taken off the draft board, so North Melbourne wouldn't even need to match a bid for him. He would be off the board completely. North don't have to give up draft picks, draft points, none of it. Nada, zero. Riley Sanders is theirs, plus pick 2 and pick 3. And I'm seeing some reports that are saying that if North Melbourne do get Sanders off the board, then they would have to give up their Band 1 compensation. Now, if someone's going to pay Ben Mackay enough for Band 1 compensation, and that those are the rules, they deserve Band 1 compensation. So the easy answer here is let another club overpay for Ben Mackay and make North Melbourne match bids for Riley Sanders. I think that's the easiest way to do it. Even if they get Band 2 and they do get that pick 19 or whatever they would get in that second round, an end of first round pick, whatever it might be. Again, I'm not okay with it as a whole, but I'm okay with the fact that those are the rules that are set in place, so you need to follow the rules. I understand that. I don't like the rules, but I get it. But we can't have a draft which has a team getting pick 2 and pick 3 for a backman who's played less than 100 games. We've also got a top 10 talent that will be taken off the board. We also will have 3 Gold Coast Academy kids that are off the draft board anyway. We are about to have a top 10 of an AFL draft and have 4 top 10 picks taken away from 17 clubs. Now, I don't know about you, but for me, that's horseshit. It just is. I know the concessions that Gold Coast have got. I understand that. But there's something about that that can't seem right to people. The only club that wins out of this is West Coast. Because, and this ties into what North Melbourne are going to do, West Coast are either going to draft Harley Reid, in which I think they will, and I think they should. Even if he wants to leave, they should charge an absolute ransom for a club to bring him home. Or they're going to trade with North Melbourne, get 2, 3, probably that Port Adelaide pick, and maybe even something else. And they're going to be able to load up, on Daniel Curtin or Colby McKercher or Nick Watson, 2 out of those 3 players. I'd probably go the first 2 if I'm West Coast. North get Harley Reid, their generational talent, who's not really going to go anywhere, I don't think, even though Horn Francis did. But he doesn't have anywhere interstate to go, so there's going to be no real qualm there. But North need more than one player. And that's why they can't stuff this up. They've got pick 2, they'll probably get pick 3, and they'll have pick 15. They are going to be able to add to a squad that is already not very good and already needs more mature talent. We know Ben Cunnington's retiring. We know Zeeble is retiring. We know Aaron Hall is retiring. Their list of players between 25 and 31 is bare, is grim. In fact, those are the names there. Good luck winning a flag with those blokes. That's all I'm saying. Now, one of them on that list stands out more than the others. I understand that. But the point still stands. It's extraordinary how little quality, experienced talent that North have got. But hey, I barrack for the Hawks. We've got one bloke on our list over the age of 30, and he ain't going anywhere, I hope, with Luke Breust having an awesome season. He's not a smoky for all Australian, but he's having an awesome season. But North right now, 2, 3, 15. And depending on what they do in the offseason, might have more picks. But let's just talk about those 3. Pick 2 just needs to be Daniel Curtin. It'll become pick 3 because of a Jed Walter bid, yada, yada, yada. I understand all that. But their first selection in this draft needs to be Daniel Curtin. Not only do they have injuries down back, and considering that Ben Mackay might be the reason they get the extra draft pick in the first place, I know Curtin's played as a midfielder, I understand that, but he's 196 centimetres, he's got a lot of senior experience and under-18s experience as a defender. North just need to take him. Now, in the defence of that, the last time I said North need to take a player, that was Logan McDonald, and it was for a different media content unit. We know that didn't happen, and I'm one of those people who doesn't hold that against Will Phillips at all, and we don't know if Logan McDonald would be better, worse, or the player that he is now at North with Nick Larkey, but you'd like to think it would be a net positive. But Curtin just makes too much sense. McKercher as well. I mean, you will be bringing him into a midfield with Luke Davies-Uniacke, Jai Simpkin, Will Phillips, Harry Sheasel, George Wardlaw fully fit. They'll want Braden George to roll through there the longer his career goes on. What do they do with guys like Tom Powell and Charlie Lazaro now? I would much rather Colby McKercher than a couple of those blokes, especially in the latter end of that list. But how many midfielders can you really play in your team? I look at a guy at North like Eddie Ford. Eddie Ford has two roles: attacking half forward, defensive forward, and does them both really well. Excellent. Nothing wrong with that at all. There is a dying breed of impactful inside 50 players, and I hate that. Now, what do they do at pick 15? Pick 15 is pretty simple for mine. Whether they take Curtin, McKercher, or Watson, it is 2 out of those 3. And pick 15, honestly, I think ideally you'd take Archer Reed because they just need a tall forward. Whether you think it's a reach, whether you think it's a steal, depending on how much of Archer you've watched and whether you subscribe to the potential versus output argument, they need a tall, and I'm not sure a guy like Logan Morris is really the way to get it done. You know, if Ben Mackay goes, can they take Daniel Curtin and Ollie Murphy if he's still there? The good news for North is there are options. But if out of these 3 picks, they take 2 smalls, I don't give a damn if it's a small defender and a midfielder, or a midfielder and a small forward. If they take 2 smalls, they're unhelpable. I don't know what more you can do here, really, at this point. I don't know how the AFL can go, we are going to go out of our way to help you. We are going to take another potential top 10 pick off the board, and you go and do this. The development of North Melbourne hasn't really been great for a while, but they did have some turnover of off-field guys lately. I think Clarko needs an influx of new assistant coaches. Straight up, how many they are and which assistant coaches need to go, I'm not close enough to the club to make those decisions. But this is a club that is extremely comfortable with rebuilding at its own pace, and you don't get to rebuild at your own pace because you either start to show something or you get left behind. And I don't really know why we're rewarding getting left behind for so long. So what's the answer? All right, Daz, you pointed out some problems. What are the actual solutions? Let's start with the AFL. Give them pick 2. Give them the Ben Mackay compensation as it deserves. If it's band 1, give them pick 3. If it's band 2, give them pick 19. If it's band 3, I think you get the pick after your second round pick, which isn't that great a gap anyway. I could be wrong on that band 3 thing. But if they get pick 3, they can't in good conscience, this being the AFL, pre-list Riley Sanders. Now, like Gold Coast, if you get a bid for him, match the points. By all means, match the points. I don't have a problem with that. But we can't, as an industry, look at clubs, say like a Hawthorn, if you want to use them as an example, but I'm looking at, say, Freo, Adelaide, Essendon, Sydney if they don't make the 8, Geelong if they don't make the 8, St Kilda even, and go, you guys have given your all for the season, and you're just not there yet. And that's okay, you're just not there yet. Some of those teams had more expectations than others, but if you don't make the 8, you're not there yet. That's not an outlandish statement. But we're going to punish you is a really bad, dangerous, and such a lack of equality for this competition that it really makes me wonder if there really is any integrity in the drafting system. What's in it for North? Well, if they do get Sanders pre-listed, I don't know if they take him and McKercher, considering both of their on-ball prowess, but Daniel Curtin needs to be taken, and at some point in this draft, they need a tall forward. Now, if I'm North, I'm taking Curtin, McKercher, and either Archer Reed, or Ollie Murphy, whoever is available at that spot, and I suspect one of them will be. But at the end of the day, North, if you're going to get all this help, no matter how much help you get, if you stuff this up, it's almost got to be like an addict in the family. You just got to let them hit rock bottom on their own and rebuild it on their own, because this is crap. But anyway, that's my little rant. I hope you're enjoying your week. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Click the like button if you do. Comment below, let me know what you think, whether you're a North fan or not a North fan. I hope you have a fantastic round 22. Can't wait. Thank you very much to Capital Edge Australia for sponsoring this video, the leaders in real estate and investment property education. You can visit them down below. Links on the screen to get in contact if you're wanting to kickstart or kick along your real estate investment property journey. They've been fantastic supporters of the channel for a few months now, and this is their last month of sponsoring the channel, so I thank them so much. I thank you even more. Goodbye.